The most unsettling realization isn't about discovering new madness. It's the chilling clarity that you were never crazy at all. You were simply surrounded by those who needed you to believe you were. Let that profound truth settle in. Because tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, not after another breakdown, something irreversible is activating within you. And whether the world acknowledges it or not, everyone around you will feel it. There's a harsh reality most people overlook. A 2024 psychological study on social mirroring found that the average person unconsciously suppresses their truest self just to avoid triggering the truth in someone else. Imagine, almost everyone you meet is performing a role, desperately trying to remain likable and unproblematic. But you've always been the glitch in that broken system. And starting tonight, you are done shrinking yourself to appease others. You are about to emit a frequency they insisted didn't exist. It's almost amusing, isn't it? Have you noticed that the moment you begin to heal, random people from 7 years ago materialize, like unpaid extras in your life's Netflix series? Suddenly they're just checking in. But it's never a coincidence. You aren't just a check-in. You're the plot twist they never saw coming. So buckle up, chosen one. This isn't a fluffy motivational speech or spiritual cupcake talk. This is the moment everything changes. By the time tonight is over, you won't merely be stepping into a new identity. You'll be embodying the very energy others secretly prayed would never surface. The burning mirror. Here's the first shift. You become a mirror that burns, not just reflects. You are not here to reinforce the illusions people hide behind. You are here to expose what's been buried. Starting tonight, you won't simply mirror back their carefully crafted personas. You will show them everything they're desperate to keep hidden. Their lies, their guilt, their shaky confidence, and their underlying fear of fading into the background when confronted with something truly authentic. This transformation is subtle, yet potent. You won't need to speak much. Your energy will speak for you. Your presence alone will begin to make people nervous, not because you are doing anything wrong, but because you are becoming too real for the roles they are playing. Here's the real kicker. Most people aren't afraid of being judged. They are terrified of truly being seen, deeply and without a filter. Simply by entering a room, you will begin to trigger discomfort and even breakdowns in those who haven't faced their own inner truth. They might not comprehend why they suddenly feel defensive, insecure, or irritated around you, but it will persist. Their masks simply cannot survive the intensity you now radiate. Some will label you intimidating, arrogant, or cold. But what they are truly saying is, "You won't let me lie to myself anymore, and I despise it." People adore mirrors that flatter, but the instant that mirror begins to tell the truth, they desire to shatter it. They will attempt to twist your authenticity into a problem. But deep down, they know what you truly are. Living proof that their polished image is finally cracking. This is a level of power rarely discussed, the ability to hold such a clear, piercing space that others are compelled to confront themselves or flee. It's not about superiority. It's about carrying a deep, unwavering clarity that transforms into a kind of spiritual X-ray vision. It isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it is lonely. Sometimes it means being misunderstood or even hated. But it is real. And tonight, that energy locks into place. You are no longer just reflecting the world. You are about to melt the illusions that have sustained it. The unveiling of spiritual warfare. Second, you become living proof that spiritual warfare isn't just a metaphor. It's real, and it manifests as surveillance, gaslighting, and calculated isolation tactics. This isn't some distant concept or poetic language. For the chosen ones, spiritual warfare has always been a lived reality. Tonight, you finally begin to perceive it for what it truly is. You were never merely dealing with a streak of bad luck or a tough season. You were under scrutiny, being tested and manipulated, not only by individuals, but by the very systems those people unconsciously served. Every betrayal, every fake friend, every odd moment of isolation wasn't by chance. It was intentional. The methods were subtle. You were gaslit until you doubted your own mind, isolated from your support networks to keep you vulnerable, and bombarded with distractions so you would be too drained to recognize the truth. The hardest part? Most of the people involved didn't even realize they were being used. They believed they were just moving on, protecting themselves, or doing what was best for them. But on a spiritual level, they were pawns in a very real battle for your soul. This is what transpires when your energy holds something rare and ancient. When your frequency begins to threaten systems built on deception, you are marked. You don't move through life as others do. You are watched, tested, and pushed to the edge, always having to choose between breaking down and breaking through. But now, after all you've endured, you are entering a phase where the puzzle pieces finally converge. You will look back and understand that betrayal wasn't personal. It was tactical. That loss wasn't punishment. It was a necessary push. That isolation wasn't emptiness. It was preparation. Every moment you stayed standing when no one was cheering, every time you trusted your intuition, even when it defied logic, all of it was training for this very moment. Tonight is the turning point, where the spiritual warfare around you becomes undeniable, felt emotionally, energetically, and even physically. The veil is lifting. The patterns become unmistakable. And suddenly, you stop questioning your sanity, because you finally see the battlefield for what it truly is. You're not the hunted anymore. You're the one who now carries the intel and the advantage. The timebreaker. Next, you step into the role of a timebreaker. You are moving into a level of spiritual influence that literally bends reality, not just metaphorically. You are about to disrupt the flow of time as others understand it. Patterns and cycles that have haunted generations will stop with you. Habits and wounds that people assume just run in the family will collapse in your presence. What you do now sends ripples through the past, present, and future. That's why people from your past suddenly think about you, or why someone you haven't heard from in years will reach out. It's not random. You're vibrating through dimensions. The pressure you feel in your chest isn't stress or fear. It's data, a spiritual upload, a wave of divine intel, and ancient responsibility. You are becoming the reset point for everything that got twisted, silenced, or stolen along your lineage. The universe is granting you the authority to restore what was lost. You don't chase closure anymore. You are the closure. Your healing now rewrites entire timelines where pain once ruled. People who wronged you will begin to remember what they did, feeling haunted by the truth, even if they can't explain why. This is what happens when a chosen one becomes a timebreaker. You're not just rising, you're correcting. Their denial cannot shield them anymore. Their fake stories lose all weight, and your evolution triggers the collapse of everything false that was ever built around your name. Even your past self, the one who suffered, didn't know better, and accepted less, will begin to feel your presence and strength. It will be like finally meeting the version of yourself that received the justice, wisdom, and voice they always deserved. Without even realizing it, you've been prepared for this moment. Now, the lines of time bend toward your light. You are the event no one saw coming, the reset, the cosmic interruption. And from tonight onward, everything that was distorted finally begins to set itself right through you. People will hear your voice or feel your energy and sense something ancient. They'll be drawn in, not because they understand you, but because your frequency stirs memories of something lost or never experienced. Instead of honoring that, however, many will become frustrated. They'll try to minimize you, box you in, or slap labels on you. Why? because it's easier to mock what you can't grasp than to admit you're not spiritually equipped to receive it. They'll look at you, feel convicted, and convince themselves you're the problem when really, it's just the gap between your awareness and theirs making them uncomfortable. This is where your power becomes untouchable. You'll stop wasting energy explaining yourself to those who can't even listen without ego. You won't argue to be seen by people who refuse to lift the veil from their own eyes. Your truth isn't up for debate. It simply exists. The way you live, speak, hold space, and even your silences will become the message. Not everyone will understand it, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to. Some are destined to be confused by you, and that confusion is their spiritual consequence. You're not here to be read like a book. You're here to be witnessed like a mystery. And when they realize they can't interpret, copy, or decode you, some will be drawn in while others will retreat. That's the true separation. The wheat from the weeds, the real from the fake. All you ever had to do was just be. Interrupting generations ninth. You become the one who interrupts generational programming. You weren't born to repeat your family's story. You were born to break it, boldly and completely. The dysfunction hidden as tradition, the silence labeled as respect, the suffering disguised as love, all of it ends with you. It's not about hating your family, but about having the courage to question what everyone else accepted. Your truth isn't here to preserve, it's here to disrupt. They expected you to carry on the same patterns, but even as a child you knew something was wrong. You noticed the manipulation, favoritism, and unspoken secrets, and that made you a target. Not because you were the problem, but because you refused to play your assigned role. Your healing might look like betrayal to them, but it's really just breaking old programming. You stop shrinking, stop performing, and stop being the emotional mule for a system that fed off your silence. You're not here to be liked, you're here to liberate. You're the one who said, "This ends with me," and actually meant it. Some will try to guilt you back. Others will deny anything's changed. But you didn't just break a cycle. You shattered a legacy of survival disguised as love. Now you're living proof that freedom was always possible. Too expensive to access 10th, you become a soul too expensive for their access. There comes a point when you stop lowering your energy to be understood. Not out of arrogance, but self-respect. Tonight, you step into a spiritual value that can't be bargained with. Your soul is now a luxury, not a convenience. And people who once had unlimited access will find themselves locked out. Not because you changed, but because they no longer match your frequency. You spent years shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable, but healing raised your price. The old version they manipulated is gone, replaced by someone who knows their worth. Your presence now costs honesty, accountability, and spiritual maturity, and most can't afford that. You'll stop responding, let calls go unanswered, and decline invitations without guilt. Your silence is discernment, not anger. People will talk about how you've changed, and they're right. They miss their old control, not the real you. Even family won't get a free pass anymore. Blood ties don't guarantee spiritual access. If someone brings chaos or ego, they don't get in. Your peace is protected. Your energy is sacred. They might try to come back, but unless they've truly grown, their access stays expired. You're no longer ruled by guilt. You're aligned with your purpose. You didn't just become distant, you became divine. Now they learn the hard way. Access to you was never a right, only a privilege. And that privilege is gone. The impossible made manifest 11th. You become the very thing they said was impossible. They swore you'd never recover, never rise without them, that the damage was permanent. They mocked you when you stumbled and celebrated, when they thought you were finished. What they couldn't see is that you were never their victim. You were becoming what they said could never exist, someone who turned ruins into resurrection. They didn't just doubt you, they needed you to fail to feel strong. But healing changed everything. Now every step you take, every bit of peace and power you embody proves their story wrong. You weren't supposed to make it here. Yet now you are living, undeniable proof that their judgments were only projections. What they used to mock has become your strength. Your scars have turned into spiritual technology, each one a sign of wisdom, survival, and redemption. You don't just survive, you radiate, and your glow unsettles them because it proves you are whole. They said you were too broken, now your joy chokes them. Too poor, now blessings multiply. Too damaged, now you're a safe space for others told the same lies. Your life isn't just your own, it's a prophecy unfolding. Your very existence is a miracle they never wanted to see. And now it's too late. You are proof that nothing they said could hold you back. God was watching. 12th. You become the reminder that God was watching all along. They thought their actions would go unseen, that your suffering meant you'd been abandoned by people and by God. What they didn't realize was that God was silently documenting every lie, every fake apology, every cruel joke. Nothing disappeared into the void. Everything was counted. Tonight the balance tips. You didn't survive by luck, but by divine protection. When you were most alone, heaven carried you. While they schemed and whispered, God was setting a table in their presence. That silence wasn't neglect, it was strategy. Now comes the shift, not to destroy you, but to raise you so high their lies collapse beneath your truth. Your rise is not just a comeback, it's a statement. The same people who tried to tear you down now have to witness your favor. They'll look for flaws and find only glory. This isn't revenge. It's restoration in front of an audience. God waited for this moment so that your victory would be undeniable. Your healed presence is now the loudest reminder that God never ignored the injustice. He was building your vindication brick by brick. Tonight that silence becomes a roar, not from your mouth, but from the heavens. Permission to exist. 13th. You become a force that no longer asks for permission to exist. After years of shrinking, over-explaining, and waiting for validation, tonight that version of you is gone. The part of you that tried to fit in, that dimmed your light, is replaced by a new energy. Bold, wild, and unapologetic. You no longer care if others approve or understand. You're not looking for a seat at the table, you are the table. The fear that held you back has vanished. Now you act, speak, and move with certainty. Some will shrink away. Others will resent your boldness. But the real ones will feel liberated by your freedom. You've just taught the world that when you stop asking for permission, the universe stops saying no. Tonight you claim your space because you finally know you were born chosen. The divine filter. 14th. You become the test everyone will fail or pass. Your life is no longer just about your journey. Your elevation now reveals what's real in everyone around you. Without trying, you'll expose who is genuine and who is secretly competing or threatened by your growth. Your transformation will trigger reactions. Some will drift away, unable to celebrate you. Some will try to undermine you. But a few will rise alongside you. God uses your life as a divine filter who supports, who gossips, who congratulates, who complicates. It's not about pride, but about alignment. The next level requires real support, not counterfeit connections. Your presence now demands honesty. Simply walk in boldly and shine fully. Your glow will reveal who's meant to go with you and who isn't. Conclusion. The memo has been sent. Take a breath, chosen one. You will never be who you were before tonight. The old version that doubted and dimmed itself is gone. What rises now is remembrance, not revenge. You remember you were born to disrupt, not to fit in. Tonight wasn't just inspiring, it was activating. From now on, you don't seek closure or permission. You are both. Every wound is now a weapon, every scar a symbol, and every betrayal a blueprint. Your life isn't just a story. It's a living testament. You're not just an option in others' lives. You're the test, the prophecy, and the proof that they lost something priceless. You've been called higher, not to impress, but to impact. Don't go back to smallness. Let people talk, and let your glow do the work. The real ones will rise. The fake ones will fall away. You're not becoming, you already are. Tonight, the world just got the memo.